Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. To you, Lord, I'm grateful, Allah the sustainer. For sins I'm remorseful, Allah the forgiver. For blessings I'm hopeful, Allah the bestower. Gracious and merciful, Allah the creator. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. The subject is the principles of faith, and we reached to discuss the attributes of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We gave in the last session the classification of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to know importance of this subject is good to say in the history of Islam, the people who have taken other than Ahlul Bayt, the family and progeny of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they had different views because they came to certain ayahs of the Holy Quran. The meaning apparently is very clear, but the idea is not possible. Like, for example, Ar-Rahman ala al-Arsh istawa. Allah, the Rahman, the Beneficent, He sat on the throne. Now, throne is known, it is chair of the king. Sitting is also known, so we know what is sitting. But how God can sit on the chair, that is not possible to accept or understand it. Or they said, Yadullahi fawqa aydihim. Hand of God, yad, they translate as hand, word to word translation of yad is hand. So hand of God is above their hand. So they said the hand is known, but how God has hand, that is not known. And for example, وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. The faces were bright and they are looking to their Lord in the day of judgment. So looking is known, you are looking, vision. Their Lord is also known. So, but how we are looking and what is shape of our Lord in day of judgment, how we see Him, we don't know. So when they came to these ayahs, they took the meaning on the apparent, and they say it is not allowed to ask about its meaning. They say al-kayfiyya ma'luma wa as-sifa ma'luma, as-sifa ma'luma wal-kayfiyya majhula wa as-su'al bid'ah. The attribute is known, hand is hand known, but how it is there we don't know, and to ask is not your duty, you should not ask. But how can we say that we cannot ask about verses of the Holy Quran? The Holy Quran said, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Don't they think about Quran? Don't they read about Quran? Don't they imagine what the Holy Quran is saying and understand it and follow it? So if Quran encourage us to read the Holy Quran, and when we read these ayahs, you say, okay, don't think about its meaning and don't ask. You are not allowed to ask. How that possible? So that is one of the views of the Muslim scholars. Till today the Wahhabis are of that view. The Hanabila are of that view. They call it Tajsim. Tajsim, Jism, they say God is body, but is not like our physical body, is some other body. And some of them, even they have gone to an extremes, you know. He says that I have seen my God 99 times in a dream, and I can explain to you the shape of his face, his hands, his legs, his body, Well, even his private parts, but I feel ashamed to tell you about that. So you can imagine how much extreme they have gone, because they have not taken from Ahlul Bayt Salamullah alayhim. So when you deviate from the right path, you got these type of ideas, unfortunately. People are lost. So that is one group of the Muslims. Other group who are Ash'ara, Mu'tazila. These, the Ash'ara and Mu'tazila, most of the Sunni Muslims today are Ash'ara. They follow the Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, because that is his explanation on principles of faith. They follow that. That is why they call Ash'ara in their sect of principles of faith. Not sect of fiqh, to say Hanbali, Shafi'i, Hanafi, Maliki. No, that is a fiqh classification, but on Usuluddin, on the principles of faith, they are Ash'ari. All the Sunni Muslims are Ash'ari. So the other group, what they say? They said, we can make similar to that and explain it. But then how to explain when there are so many attributes for Allah? These attributes are united with the self, with the that of Allah, or not united? Does it make a complex, or does not make a complex? See, when they want to explain it, they don't know how to explain it. If they say it is united, 99 names of Almighty Allah, the Asma'ul Husna, the best and the most beautiful names are for Allah. So united with Allah, then Allah will have 99 parts. And they believe, no, not possible. So they start making and cooking theories, that Allah has some other shadow, and these are attributes of the name, not of the self. And there is a difference between name of Allah and self of Allah. So these are attributes of the name, not of the self. So it looks Allah is two. One is the name, one is the self. And again, they have some views which are not possible. Of course, about attributes, they have so many other views. Maybe on justice of Allah also, they have gone wrong. We are going to discuss that. But we are discussing now attributes of Allah. And you see how important it is. And they said, okay, we make similar to that, but again, whatever explanation they gave was not right, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond that type of imagination, and they don't know how to explain it, because they have not taken it from Ahlul Bayt Salamullahi alayhim. When we go to views of Ahlul Bayt Salamullahi alayhim in the traditions of Ahlul Bayt, you see, they have explained it very easily and very nicely. They said there are attributes of the self and attributes of deeds of Allah. Attributes of the self of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are part of self of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not part means two parts. They are one. Allah Himself, all of Him is knowledge, so knowledge is not in a separate space. And all of Him is might, qudra. And all of Him is life. The knowledge and might and life, all are one, not two. When you look to it, from the knowledge point of view, you say Allah has knowledge. You look to that point, otherwise He is the same. When you look to His creation and power in creating the world, you say He has might, or He is self-sufficient and independent of anything else. When you look to Him from life point of view, we say that He is alive. Not that life has one compartment and knowledge is another compartment, and the might and the power another, and with each one He do something with His material. He think, let us say, with His brain, and He see with His eye, and He hear with His ear. So He has different organs, and each organ has different activity. So here is a complex human being. Allah is not a complex. Allah is simple and one. And understanding of one, as we said, one in his entity, that there is no partner, la sharika lahu, no partner for him. And we explain that because if there is a partner, then one will make two and there will be a gap in between, and he will be then contingent, not eternal, and all that we discussed before. And one in his attributes, that all the real attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are of his essence, united with his essence. Now somebody may ask that how do we understand that 2, 3 attributes are one from one side? Let us say, make it easy for our understanding. Sometimes we give a physical example. These physical examples may not be right if we talk philosophy, but we talk for make it easily understanding. Now we say, I myself in front of you. From one side, I can say I am in front of you. Front. From one side, I am on the back, my back is the wall. From one side, this is my right side. From another side, this is left side. Okay, I who are on the left side of this, am I different from the I who are in front of you? There are two. One is on the left side and one is on the right side. One is in the front, one is in the back. Or no, all of them are one. Naturally, all of them are one. But we look to them from different angle. When you took from this side, you say, okay, he is left to that. When you see to that, he is right to this side. You look to others, you see he is facing the other. So you look to from different angles. Otherwise, the one is one. If there is a circle and there is a center, a dot at the center, that dot, if you say, you put A, B, C, D. So you say the dot is below A, on the left side of B, on the right side of C, on the front of D, for example, or above D. So now, is it different that we give 4 descriptions? Below, above, right, left. But the answer, no. It is one self, but we are looking at it from different direction. Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of him, as some traditions of them say, all of him is knowledge, all of him is life, all of him is might. Not that there are parts of him. So we have to understand from that point. You say it is possible to understand. We do not go into extremes. You say, okay, block your eye because you cannot understand. Your mind should not work and you are not allowed to question. Or we explain it in a wrong way, that we make there are 99 parts for Allah, and then we are puzzled how to unite them and how to separate them, and then create some stories that Allah has the name and these are for the name, not for him, for else. Then we are separating that, which is all unnecessary. All other activities or creation done by Allah, I mean attributes of his deeds, all of them are, as we said, coming from one, and that is Qayyum. Is self-subsistent. And because he is self-subsistent and everything else is depending on him, so he is the creator, the sustainer, the king, the Lord, and the peace, and all 99 names of the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we may mention. So all that will come from because he is the Qayyum. And we see in Ayatul Kursi, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Allah, there is no God but him who is alive and self-subsistent. So that is how we understand Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there is no complexity even in the self of Allah. See, not possible. No complexity. To say there is 2 parts, 3 parts, okay, his self is one from outside, but inside, part of it is knowledge, part of it is might, part of it is life. Say no, there is no parts even within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So neither from without, to say there are two or three, Trinity or others, nor within parts are possible. For the simple reason that if you say one part from the other part, then there is a need for a space and a gap between parts, and then God will be in need of His parts. If all the parts are not together, He will not be a God. If you take the knowledge from Him, it will be shortage. If you take the life, will be shortage, and so on. So God will be in need of His parts to be together, and that is not possible. We say God is beyond any need. He is self-subsistent, self-sufficient. Everything else depends on Him. So He is not in need of any existing thing outside, and even not depending or need of His parts, because He has no parts. He is one self, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is in short how to understand the attributes. So when we discuss the attributes, we might discuss them gradually in detail. We have to know that these type of adding all are not possible for the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say His essence is simple, one, absolute in His oneness, unique in His oneness. No other thing in the world is one like this. Because a human being has knowledge also. But the knowledge of Allah and our knowledge is different. So we say nothing similar to Him. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. The Holy Quran will give that fact that nothing is similar to Him. Or actually nothing is similar to His similar. If we imagine something similar to God, even that imagination, if we think about it, still there is nothing similar to that. I mean, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ, it might be translated like that. Nothing similar to His similar, or nothing similar to Him. Both the meanings in Arabic are possible. So however, when you say nothing similar to Him, we have knowledge and God has knowledge. We have might and God has might. We have life and God has life. Is our life same like life of God or different? When we say nothing similar to Him, so it shows that our life and His life are different. Our knowledge and His knowledge are different. Our might and His might are different. So the difference here in His might and knowledge and life are one of His essence, and His essence, all of it is life, all of it is knowledge, all of it is might. Not that there are parts in it. But if you take everything else, you see that there are separation there in each attribute. Each attribute had its own parts. So that is, in short, how to understand the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you say there are the self attributes, the essential attributes we discussed as attributes of the self, and they are part of the self without being in divisions, and all of them are actually one, not different sections. There is no sections, no parts. All of them are one. It is important here to discuss about the difference between material things and immaterial things, because sometimes, or most of the time, our discussion is about people who believe in matter and material things. So their views are material, and they bring rules and regulations of material on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His attributes or His existence. They compare it with whatever they understand from matter. We say Allah, nothing is similar to Him, nothing simulates Him. So the matter also is not simulating Him. The matter is existing, and Almighty Allah is existing. But the existence of matter differs from existence of Allah. Is not the same. This is material one, but Allah is not material. So that type of confusion should not come. What are the differences between matter and immaterial? Generally, they say there are 4 differences. The material things, they need time because you will not find any material things without time. It has a time on a specific time. Everything is created on specific time. And the immaterial things, they do not need time. Material things, they need space, because every matter is taking a space. And you see it has a size. That size may be in centimeters, maybe in meters, maybe in kilometers, whatever, or sometimes in micron, we say, but it has a space and size. It has a 3-dimension, the length and width and depth, These are one attributes of the matter. While immaterial things, they do not need space. They are beyond space. And the third difference is that the material things can be divided into pieces. Immaterial things cannot be divided. Anything material, you can make it half, make it 4 parts, 8, 12, etc. You can divide it into parts, and maybe millions and billions of parts can be divided. And the fourth one, we say material things are affected by changes, and so it will change by time. Immaterial things are not affected by changes and will not change by time, will remain as it is. Now, to give an easy and a practical example to understand the difference and to make it simple, we say the difference between the brain and our knowledge, or let us say reason, ta'aql. The reason is immaterial and the brain is material. Because something, the reason is material, it is sitting in the brain. Actually not sitting, because the brain cells are changing. I mean, the cell itself is not dying, but its cytoplasm by food, by taking food and others will change, while the knowledge will remain as it is. The wisdom will remain as it is, will not change. So it is different than that. I mean, like you see the water in the river is moving, and you see your picture in the water. Is that picture part of the water? If the picture is part of the water, it should move with the water. Why it is stable? The water is moving, but the picture is stable. So it showed the picture is not part of the water. If it was part of the water, then it would have moved with the water. It's part of it. If you put a color, for example, which become the water become blue in color, you see the color will move. If you put red color, the color will move. But your picture will remain there, will not move. So it shows it is not part of the material water, to see. Now we give example about space. If we have a plate and we say in this plate, how many brains you can put? You can say, okay, this plate, 1 brain or 2 brain maximum. The size is suffering, will be full. But if you say how many reason I can put in the plate to be full, can you think about it in that way? How much aql you put so it will be full? So aql or reason, there's no space. You can say 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 million. You can't imagine it on figure of a number here, And if there is no space, naturally there is no time. For the brain, you say, okay, my brain 100 years before, my brain was not there. And now it is, my brain is there. Maybe after 100 years, it will, after death, it will finish, But can you say reason was 100 years before, reason was not there, and then it came into being, and then it will die, will finish? Reason is reason, 1 million years before or 1 million years after. Reason will remain reason. That is something beyond discussion about time, We cannot relate it to time in any way, It is there or not there, has nothing to do with time, We say can be divided, of course, the material thing like the brain, we can divide into half a brain, quarter brain, and so on. You can divide, and by dissection or dissection, you can make it into pieces. But can you cut resin into half, you say put half resin here, half resin here. Well, you can't imagine it. Divide, how do you divide it? It's either there or not there. You can't say divide, how can I divide the resin beyond any division? And the fourth is changing. The brain was small when I was a child, and then grown, and then when the people die, it will disintegrate, will finish, and so on. A color will change, the life will change, the size will change, and so on. So by time, everything is changed. Well, every material thing, even a mountain, it might change not in a few months, but maybe in thousands of years, the mountain may be reduced or maybe increased, and depend on different geological factors. Some of the stones are cut and come down by effects of rain, and etc. So again, it is changing. Everything in this world is changing in the sense it's losing part of its energy continuously. That is a theory in physics. They said a time will come that everything will finish because all the energy will be out of the matter. The sun is changing because it's losing part of its energy. Today, the size of the sun is not the same as it was yesterday, because the sun lost part of its energy and part of its matters changed into energy. So the weight has been reduced, and its space also reduced, changed. It was in one place and moved. Next day it moved to another place. So there is always change. But now, for the immaterial things, for the reason we have said, can you imagine any changes there? Say our reason will change, and will change how? It will be long, tall, short, will be hot, cold, will be colored, black and white. In what way you can imagine changes? It is here, there, shifted to place. All talks about that, you see, has no meaning, because it is immaterial. Said immaterial will not change by time. Now when you say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no parts, so there is no physical parts or material parts, because as we said, Almighty Allah is immaterial. He created the matter, but He is immaterial, and we cannot imagine any parts for Him from material things or otherwise. Now, sometimes they put an argument, said, immaterial things are many, so God may be like many like immaterial things. Material thing need space, but immaterial doesn't need, but still we have many. We have the spirit, for example, immaterial, and the reason is immaterial, and knowledge is immaterial, and all that, so maybe many. The answer that we said, even that is not possible, because if you know the immaterial things, though they are many, but they are separated from each other. My soul and my knowledge and my reason are different. They are immaterial, but they are linked with my brain, not in the brain, but they are linked to my brain. They show their activity through my brain. Actually, they are not called simple in the true philosophical terms. They are called abstracts. The difference, abstracts are in link with the matter, can have link with the matter. So our soul is not inside our body as some people imagine. Because if it is inside the body, and if the hand is cut, then where the soul will go? The soul will shrink, or what? Or the hand of the soul will cut. If you cut the leg, what will happen to the soul of the leg? The soul has no leg now, or what? It is linked to the body by a special link, but it is not inside. And they give example of the pen. When you write, you use your ball pen, and you make letters and sentences. Now, who is the writer? you or the ball pen? Who is the writer? If you are the writer, okay, leave the ball pen and write. Can you write? You cannot write. Is the ball pen the writer? Okay, you leave the ball pen. Can the ball pen write by itself? So now who is the writer? The ball pen is not the writer, and you are not the writer, so because you cannot write without the ball pen. So how? So the answer is, I am the writer, but I cannot express my ability of writing except if I use a mean, and that mean is the ball pen. The ball pen is not the writer. True, I am the writer. But I am the writer, but my ability of writing needs a mean to show itself. Without a mean, it cannot. If the car is moving, who is the driver? The car is driving, or you? You alone, sitting at home, you cannot drive, you are sitting. Car alone also cannot walk. But you are the driver, and you cannot show your ability of driving except through the car. So there is a link with the car. Now when you say, I am the writer, not the ball pen, am I inside the ball pen or outside? I am only linked with the ball pen. I am not inside of the ball pen, linked with it. And I move the ball pen with that link. So I do the activity, but through the mean, and that mean is the ball pen. So the soul actually is the one who see. The soul is the one who hear. The soul is the one who have perception, feel. But the soul cannot see except through the physical eye. Cannot hear the sounds except through the ear. Cannot have perception except through the skin and the nerves. So these are actually means for the soul to understand the feeling or the hearing or the vision and so on. So again we say it is immaterial, but that is, as we said, they are called abstracts because they differ from the simple things in philosophical term, because the simple has no link at all with the matter. Abstract can have link with the matter, can be separated from the matter. Okay. Now another simple things we give an example are the concepts. What are the concepts in the mind can have that idea, the concept of a human being, shape a human being in your mind. So if you see somebody, you say he is a human being. And there is a concept of a monkey, for example. So if you see an animal monkey, you will not see that he is a human being, you say he is a monkey. And if you see human being, you say that this is a human being, that is a monkey. How do you separate both of them? You understand them because you have a concept of a human being, how a human being should be, and how animal should be, how a tall thing should be. A tall may not be a building tall. Sometimes if you find a pen which is twice this size, oh, this is very tall pen. This is not tall, this is short if you compare it with a building. But still you call it tall. Why? Because you have a feeling, a concept about length, size. So you see something long and short and you compare with other things. So you know the concept of the ball pen, for example, has to be 25 centimeters. So if you find one 50 centimeters, you say, oh, this is very tall ball pen. Unusual. Though 50 centimeters for a building is like a model, is not a building. So the tall for that is different. So what is the tall? And you say, this is very tall, this is very long. A hot and cold. A hot you compare. If you compare 50 degrees centigrade with 30, you say 30 is cold. Food, if it becomes 30, you say food is cold. But if you compare 30 with ice, you say 30 is very hot and ice is very cold. And if you cold ice at 0 degree with minus 30, say ice is hot comparing to minus 30. So it is a relative thing, but it's the activity of the brain. But that is immaterial. It is a concept in the brain. Okay, how many concepts you can fill the glass with it? In the glass you can put a concept of tall and concept of short and concept of heat and concept of existence and human, and then it will be full. No, so it has nothing to do with space or time. You cannot divide the concept into half. Well, concept of long, divide it into two halves. Put one half right side, one half left side. You say no, not possible to be divided. Will it change? Well, 100 years before the concept was different from now, and after 100 years it will make a difference. Say no, will not change. So it is a non-material thing. So there are many non-material things around us, and still we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is such simple and non-material, which differs even from these examples of non-material things. Because sometimes when you say in complex, not necessarily a physical complex, you say there is a class and the genus and the specifications of the individual. So there are ranks, you say, the human being, and then that belong to animal kingdom, and animal kingdom belong to living kingdom, and that is animal and plant, and living kingdom belong to material, and the material then belong to the world. So you divide into classes. So there are sometimes classes which are not material. So human being has one that he is as a species human being, and another one rank is among the animals, and another one that he is moving, that is has a life movement, that because the plant is alive but is not moving, and then life is there, and then is made of matter. All those are again divisions, but still all those divisions are not possible to discuss of them when we discuss about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you say one and absolute in his oneness, and has the real simple oneness, we mean that we cannot compare Allah with any one of his creatures by any way, whether these are physical divisions or even non-material divisions, as both are not possible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We say for everything in philosophy is made of existence and quiddity, we said. So quiddity, the mahiyya, and existence. For Allah there is no quiddity. He is existence without quiddity. The quiddity is for the material existing things, not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is how we should understand Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we read the Holy Quran, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, and we read explanation of that in beautiful sermons of Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hussain, Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam al-Baqir, and almost all of the Imams. There are traditions from them when they say about attributes of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they mention in that beautiful way that we can explain attributes of Allah. Not that we say not possible, don't talk, don't discuss. It's possible, but then we have to use our knowledge, our brain, and take it from the right source, and that's the right source of Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim. When you take it, then it becomes very clear and very easy to understand. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi al-tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alihi.